Alright, two things. Firstly, another League Cup, another top cut. I should have made it to the finals. I could have won, maybe. I don't know. Also, I do have some gameplay actually to show you as well. Fair warning, it's going to be a bit scuffed because I don't have a proper setup. I'd like to improve on it, but first things first, you can see I'm playing Gardevoir again. I changed the list once again, starting off with the things that are always the same. I removed the Radiant Greninja because, like I said, late game, it just becomes, you know, a thing on the bench once you've used up all the energy. And instead, I put in a third Munkidori. And honestly, throughout the games today, I never felt like, oh, if only I had Radiant Greninja. I also upped it to 4 Arvens and 4 Ionos because I no longer need Nest Ball to get Radiant Greninja. Because again, like, I really want to find Arvens. Like, yes, I know Secret Box can act as an Arven, a pseudo Arven, but what's better than 4 Arvens? 5 Arvens, right? And also the other big thing was I switched out a Bravery Charm for a TM Evo. With triple Munkidori, you're more likely to get Munkidoris energized, so you're happier to have Gardevoir tank hits and maybe, you know, soak up some damage that you can then Munkidori across, as opposed to, say, having Drifloon with a big HP. I still have the Mawile, I still have the Budew for item locking and trapping, and then I also have a Spiritomb. Spiritomb was honestly another card that I was considering cutting for something else, and we'll get to the game. So 5 rounds of Swiss, and then 2 rounds of top 4. My record out of Swiss was 3 wins, 1 loss, 1 tie. Oh, the very first round was against a Goldengo player, and it was a good friend of mine, so I asked him if I could record our match. At least just our first match, because I wasn't too sure if I want to record all 3 because of storage space and stuff like that. And I did win 2-0, although admittedly, maybe it's first round jitters. You're going to see there are a lot of misplays. There are so many misplays by me. Alright, what up? It's post-match, like, VOD recording, I suppose. And look at this. My camera setup is great, but you can see already the camera is a bit wobbly, and there it falls over, and so I decided to weigh it down. But it's a little bit too late. I don't have time to properly fix it because we're starting. He starts first with Radiant Greninja. Unfortunately though, concealed cards pass, not the greatest. I, however, go for a Arven, and of course I get Secret Box and TM Evo. Sometimes you don't need to go Secret Box, but I think I had to do this so I could get Buddy-Buddy Poffin and other stuff. Also, one of the things I discard is a Gardevoir, which honestly isn't that bad because when you think about it, as long as you have a Gardevoir in deck as well, having another Gardevoir in the discard pile is essentially just another option for Night Stretcher. So you have just more options for Gardevoir, technically speaking, which I've never really considered up until now. On his turn though, he gets down the Gimmighoul. I of course evoed my 2 Kirlias. And then as he's going through all of his stuff, he's trying to find out and piece stuff together. But I know I'm safe here because, again, this Gimmighoul is only going down now. I think he does get down a Buddy-Buddy Poffin, and he gets down a Togepi and a Gimmighoul. Again, I apologize. I will try and cover the stuff that is cut off screen as best as I can. For the most part, I think most of the action is at least seeable. I played on a Moon's Hill because I'm thinking I need to try and burn Psychic Energy. So I start discarding stuff with Refinement, bench down another Ralts, get down a Buddy-Buddy Poffin to get a Drifloon, and only Drifloon. So I still have 1 bench space open because I want to have this Drifloon to be ready to go for a big KO. And then I Night Stretch it for the Gardevoir. I play an Iono, and I get pretty lucky. I get a Munkidori off that, and I bench it up there off screen on the left, or I guess at the top there. I attach an energy for turn to the Munkidori. I don't have enough yet. I don't have like a lot of energy. This is just the 1, so I just Mind Band for 60 and confuse the Munkidori. He plays down a Pokestop, uses it, grabs some items, gets out a Goldengo. He's able to switch out and put in the Goldengo, but he doesn't have enough for the KO, so he just draws some cards and then passes over to me, which is going to be very interesting. Because here is where I make a great big misplay, but I still pull it back though, because I'm just that guy. So I immediately bench down Munkidori and I start to draw cards. I Refinement away 1 Psychic Energy. I consider attaching the Bravery Charm, because I'm like, I want to be able to, you know, swing at the end. So I play an Arven to grab an Earthen Vessel, and I Vessel away a Flutter Mane, very important. I grab 2 Psychic Energy because, again, I don't know how I'm getting rid of them. I've used my 2 refinements now. And then I Night Stretcher again for the other Darkness Energy, and I attach for turn. I switch into Gardevoir, and I'm like, oh, I don't have enough to Miracle Force. So I Pokestop, and I rip off a Psychic Energy, and as well as a Super Rod and a Turo. So I'm like, oh, cool. There's my energy. Attach to Gardevoir, move double Munkidori 6 onto the Togekiss now, and then Miracle Force the active. Togekiss now has, if I'm not mistaken, 60 left because I did Mind Bend earlier and then Munkidori 20 across on a previous turn. I do feel bad because this is not the first time that this guy specifically, his Pokestop, has helped me out. But yeah, he's going to draw a bunch of cards, try and see some stuff. I don't think he had the damage here because you need, what, 7 to KO a Gardevoir? So he benches down a Togepi in preparation because he assumes I'm going to KO the Togekiss, switches into Greninja, and then stalls out for a turn. Now, here is where I make another misplay. I draw some cards. I make sure to get rid of some more energy by Ultra Balling away another Ultra Ball just to get the Gardevoir out. I think I already played down my refinements. Retreat into another Gardevoir, attach to get another 6 in. And here, for some reason, I think Goldengo gets knocked out. I thought Goldengo has 240 HP, so I move all 6 onto a Goldengo. It lives with 10 HP left, and so I just Miracle Force the Radiant Greninja. But notably, this Goldengo now in the active has 10 HP left. The Togekiss, like I said, has 60 HP left. Now that he's had a chance to build up a bunch of his cards, and also I took one prize card, I think we're going to see him use some Pokéstop to get some Earthen Vessels and whatnot, and then he's going to counter catcher my benched Gardevoir, and then he's going to rip the full 7 and make it rain. And now I'm going to preemptively say here, I do make a great big misplay again on the next turn, but I get bailed out so much in this game 1 here. But yep, there's the counter catcher. Knocks out for 7, and he also flips heads, so he takes 3 prize cards. So I put Gardevoir back in, instantly bump, and I use Artisan. And I get nothing off of Artisan, and I realize, oh, that's bad. That was horrible. I almost play an Arven, but then I realized I've used 2 Night Stretchers. I've used Night Stretcher for Gardevoir, and Night Stretcher for Darkness Energy. So I Super Rod back the Flutter Mane, and then I'm like, maybe I can try and draw it out. So I do some refinements, I don't get it. I do get a counter catcher and Hisuian Heavy Ball. I grab Screamtail, but I don't bench it. I was considering it, but I was like, no, let me go for it. I counter catcher the Togekiss, right? That's 60 HP. I attach Bravery Charm, and then I Iono. And lo and behold, I draw the Flutter Mane. So, bench down Flutter Mane, attach 3 energy. I can move 60 damage onto a benched Gimme Ghoul, which has 70 HP, knock out the active with Hexhole 90, place 10 damage on Goldengo, 10 damage on Gimme Ghoul for 4 prizes. And because Flutter Mane is now in the active, he cannot use coin bonus, so he can't draw 2 extra cards off of this Goldengo. It's great. I am now down to 1 prize card. He is down to 3 prize cards. But he did bench down Fez and Dippity earlier, so his bench is just the Fez and stuff like that. And now he's just playing some cards, playing down a Jamming Tower. Also, just using Lost Vacuum just in case. I don't have another Stadium to bump, but that's fine. He gets a knockout. Flips heads, but I just do some refinements, and then I am able to grab the boss's order, and then that's just going to be game. I have 1 prize left. Gardevoir can be energized, and then yeah, that's game. Round 2, I got matched up against somebody playing Snorlax Stall, which I have never played against IRL, and so I was very concerned at first. However, he only played like 2 accompanying flutes, and also I was very lucky that he started with Great Tusk in the active on game 1. Snorlax's ability is essentially that the opposing active Pokemon cannot retreat. So what they like to do is they like to try and boss up some useless Pokemon or counter catcher, and then, you know, have it stuck there. Gardevoir is very nice because even if they pull up something else, it can become an attacker, especially because of the fact that I don't play Radiant Greninja. Everything else in this deck here, all of these Pokemon, they can attack. It's just a matter of having the energy. So because he started with Great Tusk in the active, he also attached a Handheld Fan. Handheld Fan says that if the current Pokemon is attacked by damage, you shift 1 energy from the active Pokemon to the bench, which again, it really helps you stopping your opponent from attacking. But thankfully though, this bad boy came in handy. Screamtail. Attach Bravery Charm and I can just throw 100 damage on Rotom V, take it out. There we go. I also, because of Gardevoir's ability, you know, Psychic Embrace, it takes damage. Munkidori can also ping damage across, so I'm getting more damage than expected. And Flutter Mane, if you try and pull up a Flutter Mane, or I can leave Flutter Mane in the active and attack with Flutter Mane to do 90 damage to the active and 2 damage counters on the bench, and I can retreat whenever I want because Flutter Mane, the ability cancels out Snorlax's ability, so I can sit there, throw damage however I want, and then once I'm ready, I can retreat into something that I prefer. The thing that saved me in that Snorlax stall was 2 Turo scenarios. If it weren't for 2 Turo scenarios, I would have lost. I am sad that I didn't get to make the really cool play where if I have a Ralts benched and he somehow bosses that up into the active and like quote unquote locks that in place, what I could do is attach a Bravery Charm to Ralts, use Psychic Embrace to attach 4 energy onto it. It takes 80 damage, but it survives because of Bravery Charm. And then after that, I evolve into a Kirlia. Bravery Charm is no longer active because it's only a basic Pokemon. Kirlia now has 80 damage onto it, and then it gets knocked out. those 4 energies get freed up. I get to promote something else instead. Unfortunately, I didn't get to make that play, but I still won in the end. I won game 1, and I think game 2, I also won. We didn't even have to go to time, thankfully speaking. Round 3, I went up against another friend who was playing Raging Bolt. I did lose a coin flip and he decided to go second, but I still had a great start. I was able to get down a Ralts and then Buddy-Buddy Poffin for another 2 Ralts, and I had an Arven in my hand. I attached energy to Flutter Mane now. In hindsight, that may have been, a bit of a bad play, because if he does KO this Flutter Mane, I don't think I had an energy in hand for another TM Evo, but he pulled up a Pokemon catcher anyway and flipped head, so that doesn't matter. I'm still in my head, I'm thinking I can Arven for TM Evo next turn. I should still be fine. But then he plays a Judge, which again, framing is better here, but you don't see it. You'll see us all shuffle our hands here. And then we draw 4 cards each. I unfortunately draw 4 dead cards, but then he can still combo on and carry on with Radiant Greninja, Nest Ball, and then also a Pokestop. Now, I don't know if it's because of that game 1 or round 1, but I draw nothing and I think, let me just use a Pokestop. I mill in Arven, so if I had waited another turn, I could have gotten the Arven. Instead, I just have to pass and bench a Mawile. Then he gets to get even more stuff down, gets down another Raging Bolt, and now he's just popping off, getting his Professor Starters, charging up a lot of energy. He also gets a switch card out of Pokestop, so I know I can't even Mawile trap him. But again, in my head, I'm like, oh, Pokestop, that saved me earlier. So let me try and do some shenanigans here. I put down a Buddy with Buddy-Buddy Poffin to try and thin things out, and then I Pokestop, and there goes TM Evo. The issue is that my other TM Evo is now in the prize card, so for a second I'm like, okay, let me try and stall out, let me pull up the Radiant Greninja and Itchy Pollen him, force him to have to use an energy to retreat. He gets another KO, he's down to 4 prize cards left. I'm like, okay, maybe I can manually evolve. So slowly but surely, I Ultra Ball, get a Kirlia. This is maybe the way I can come back, Yes, I'm down 2 prize cards, but I can just go 2-2-2, hopefully. And maybe he can't keep up. So I Pokestop again, Iono 2 energy, that's whatever. And then I try and tempting trap his Squawkbelly. I know he has switch card, but I'm like, yeah, it's fine. But better than a switch card, he ends up having Prime Catcher. I think he pulls that off for Pokestop, pulls up my Kirlia, knocks that out. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm 3 prize cards down. I still don't have a Ralts, or I still don't have a Kirlia. So I'm just gonna scoop and go game 2. Again, probably if I just waited and, drawn the Arven or drawn the TM Evo, I would have been perfectly fine. But in my head, I was like, I don't want to have to wait. I want to be able to try and go and get something. I don't know what I was trying to get, but it's fine. So game 2, I decided to go second, of course. He starts with Radiant Greninja, which is great because I have Flutter Mane, so he can't conceal cards. So this just forces him to have to switch out before he can even conceal cards. And you can see it in his hand, but he has a Prime Catcher, which he does end up squawking away. This is great because I think I had another basic in my hand, so it's good that I didn't bench down something else so that he could Prime Catcher it out of the active. So you can see he was forced to discard an energy there, and then I noticed he plays a lot of his energy retrievals here early on so that he can, chain together concealed cards plus tail masks that you'll see here. For me, great turn 2. I have an energy for Flutter Mane, I have a Buddy-Buddy Poffin. I don't think I had... Yeah, I didn't have, what is it called? A Secret Box or an Arven. I had a lot of Ionos. I Ultra Ball away 2 Ionos, and I'll play a 3rd Iono there for more cards. Just to see if I could get something. I didn't end up getting anything, so I thought, okay, let me just throw in Budew, stop him from using Nest Balls to get out those Raging Bolts, which does help out quite a lot. Now, he attaches an energy here, and he uses... he attaches an energy and uses Judge, but at the end of the turn, he passes instead of motivating. I don't know if it's because he didn't have energy or didn't want to attach energy, but that's interesting to me. So, I draw, I start refining because I had a Kirlia. I get down my TM Evo from like a hand that I drew, and then I have 3 Kirlias now. 3 Kirlias, I'm sorted, I'm happy. I don't have to item lock anymore because even if he does go on the offensive here, he can't KO multiple Kirlias. It's just 1. I still have 2 more Kirlias left over. I have a Flutter Mane left over. I'm still pretty happy with how my board state looks. He does get out a Raging Bolt. He also gets out a Slitherwing, which is very interesting, a 1 prizer, which I suppose is just for return KOs, so I don't go 2-2-2. He does get the Pokemon Catcher to take out a Kirlia here, but again, I'm fine. I have plenty of other stuff. He has Bravery Charm on both the Tail Mask and the Raging Bolt, so they have a lot of HP, but that's fine though. I get down a Munkidori so long so I can try and manipulate some damage across. I Pokestop. I managed to get a Counter Catcher, which is very nice, but here I don't have a Gardevoir, I don't have an attacker, so I preemptively Counter Catcher the Greninja before playing my last Iono. I didn't know what I was going to have here, but I do get lucky and I do manage to get an Ultra Ball to go and grab a Gardevoir, but also I'm able to get a Screamtail. I think I use the Autozone for it. Or I Secret Box for Autozone. Plus, I think grabbing Gardevoir some other way. And then thanks to Screamtail, I'm able to snipe down the Squawkabilly on the bench. So at the end of the day, being counter-catching the Radiant Greninja at the start did help out at the start of that turn. I just didn't know, you know, I would have been able to get the Screamtail for that snipe. But there he goes for another counter-catcher, or Pokemon catcher, which does fail. I'm on 4 prize cards, he's on 5 prize cards. So I think here is where he tries to either go for a Slithering knockoff. But again, counter-catching Radiant Greninja is great because now he's forced to either switch card, or Prime Catcher, or use one energy, which could have gone for an attachment, could have gone for concealed cards, could have gone for Teal Mask. He has to just throw that away just to move that out of the active. But there you can see he does end up switching out, and he does KO the little old, what is it called, Screamtail. But I'm able to attach an energy and then charge up Drifloon 5 damage, or 5 energy with Bravery Charm for the big knockout. 300 damage, even through the Bravery Charm, so I'm down to 2 prize cards. He's down to 4 prize cards left. He puts up the Slithering, of course, so that I can't go 2-2-2. But I mean, it's, yeah, like, this is why Raging Bolt is such a nice matchup for Gardevoir. Even if he does KO this, the Slithering is going to take so much damage in return because of its attack, which does 120 to the opposing Pokemon, but 90 to itself, and it has 140 HP, so it leaves it with 50 left. I do have one Munkidori on the bench, but you can see once this goes and gets knocked out, I think I'm able to find another Munkidori plus another Darkness Energy, because I did Earthen Vessel for 2 earlier. I also grabbed a Night Stretcher from there, so I was able to get down Munkidori plus a Darkness Energy, move 60 onto Slithering, knockout, and then he just promotes Radiant Greninja so I can grab another knockout. And then by then we said, okay, let's just ID and call it there. Round 4, I go up against Dragapult, and immediately I'm like, oh goodness, Dragapult. I know the matchup, but it's just, Dragapult Gardevoir is such a mentally draining and taxing match. And this isn't the first you'll hear of this, but essentially, game 1, because I know he can play Lumineon for like Arven, and then, you know, Arven for Forest Sealstone and something else, Rare Candy, all that stuff. That was my whole purpose of why I decided to keep Spiritomb in, because I'm like, Spiritomb can stop Lumineon for bosses orders, stop all the other stuff. Spiritomb is great, but in Dragapult specifically, it's 60 HP, which sucks. So we were down, like, in game 1 at the end of it all. I think I was down to 2 prize cards. He was down to like 1 prize card or something. He had Dragapult inactive. I had 2 Munkidoris down. I had a Gardevoir. I had already used Bravery Charm plus Drifloon to take out an earlier Dragapult. So again, I'm on 2, he's on 1. I draw for my turn and I see Spiritomb has 60 HP here. I have a Turo in hand to pick it up to deny him, you know, it's an easy ping. Just put the 6 damage counters on here, no matter what. But also, I so desperately wanted to say, like, I need to Iono him. I lose to a Gust here, because if Spiritomb wasn't here, he still has 1 prize. He could still just win by just going Gust, Munkidori, knockout. He didn't have any Duskulls or Dusknoirs, so I had to Professor Turo scenario to pick up Spiritomb, and then, you know, I punched his Dragapult, and then he just said, oh, I have boss. Again, I don't know. Maybe Spiritomb did save me earlier. Like, I don't know if he had a chance to play Lumineon and he couldn't play it earlier, thanks to that, but yeah. Then game 2 comes around, and game 2, again, the way the match goes, it's very back and forthy, right? Eventually, he gets his Dragapult. He can probably take out a 2 prize turn against, like, you know, a Budew and, like, maybe a Kirlia or a Ralts. I end up getting a Drifloon into the active with Bravery Charm, knock out his Dragapult. Cool. And then this game, I decide I'm not going to bench Spiritomb because of what just happened in the previous turn. And then what I decide is towards the end, we were on turns, but I had game potentially by the end of turns. So what I did was I threw down a Mawile. I pulled up his Pheasantipity. I used Tempting Trap, and I was like, okay, all I need to do is just buy out like a couple of turns. I have damage on my stuff. I have double Munkidori. I can throw damage across. He also benches down Manaphy, so I can't use Screamtail. So I'm like, okay, it's fine. I have 3 prize cards left. I think he had 1 or 2 or something like that, because I also had some other Pokemon bench down that had some damage counters like a Kirlia. So I was like, okay, Mawile, pull up your Pheasantipity. And maybe it was a misplay. I can't remember exactly if he had bench space or not, but I decided to try and KO. I think I had to KO something on his bench with Munkidori to be able to go for the prize trade, you know, right? Because again, we were on turn, so I needed to use my Munkidori to get a KO so I could go for the final 2 prizes left on the following turn. But because I KO'd something, he had bench space open. He just went, oh, okay, cool. Ultra Ball, grab Lumineon, play Lumineon for Turo, pick up his, Pheasantipity, and then he was able to, you know, get a 2 prize turn because he could knock out my Mawile, and I think he had Radiant Alakazam to move 2 damage counters onto Kirlia, and then 6 onto there, and stuff like that. I couldn't evolve this Kirlia into a Gardevoir, but there was something had damage enough that he could knock out, and then 6 onto another knockout. So that, I was like, oh, maybe there Lumineon would have helped out. You know, I keep on flip-flopping back and forth between the Spiritomb trying to cancel out Lumineon. Round 5, I go up against Charizard. Boy, oh boy, was that wild. Game 1, I brick so hard. I am drawing nothing. I'm drawing no Buddy-Buddy Poffins. I'm drawing nothing. I'm drawing no Ralts. By the time I eventually do get to use TM Evo on like, I don't know, it was like a Flutter Mane or something in the active to get 2 Kirlias down, he's been having enough turns that he can just go, okay, cool. Rare Candy, Dusk Noir, a Kirlia, and then Quick Search, Boss's Order, other Kirlia, Knockout. And I was just like, okay, I'm gonna scoop immediately. I'm gonna go second. Game 2 was like the exact opposite where, I mean, I still didn't have a good start, but I absolutely stunned this guy because literally all I did was Budew. He had Duskull in the active. I Budewed him 3 times in a row. All the while, I was setting up like my Ralts' Kirlias just manually by hand and whatnot. I had a Munkidori. So after 3 turns of Itchy Pollen in a row, his one active Duskull had 30 damage on it. He had another Duskull on the bench that he evolved into Dusclops, which has 90 HP. I was able to go into Gardevoir, grab down a Flutter Mane, retreat into Flutter Mane, move 30 damage from Flutter Mane onto his active Duskull, which again, thanks to 3 Itchy Pollens in a row, knocked it out. He pulls up Duskull, which has 90 HP, perfect for Flutter Mane to knock out. And then we went into game 3. Game 3, nothing too like noteworthy. It was just a standard Gardy versus Charizard. He eventually gets his Charizard, you know, takes out a Kirlia, but then I can counter with a Munkidori plus Drifloon and Bravery Charm. And then after that, I can start chasing down stuff like the Pheasantipity, or, you know, I can also start pinging 60 damage across with Munkidori very often to try and take out his Duskulls and whatnot. And eventually I win game 3. So now make it into top cut, top 4. And I am playing up against that same Dragapult player from earlier. 3 matches, 75 minutes instead of the regular 50. I misplay in this top 4 match so badly. Bear in mind as well, it has been so many hours now. It's been like what, 8 hours, right? Playing non-stop Pokemon, having to think as well so hard and stuff like that. And I remember game 1, it's your typical back and forth, right? I can get out my Gardevoirs. I had 2 Gardevoirs actually, because again, I didn't want him to be able to Radiant Alakazam, 2 damage onto Kirlia, and then Phantom Knife. So I had double Gardy, I had my monkeys out, and then for some reason, my smart brain was like, okay, hang on a second, I have an idea. I don't want to, you know, face his Dragapult in the active, and I don't want to like go down on prize cards. Let me place down a Screamtail, because I think he was on 3 prizes, I was on 4 prizes. And what I decided to do was, I used Screamtail to snipe on the bench and knock out a Dracloak, because I'm like, oh, it takes out his draw. The entire time, he's had a fully evolved Dusknoir on the bench. I could have knocked out the Dusknoir, but for some reason in my head, I was like, no, I need to get rid of his draw engine. And then on his turn, he has Counter Catcher, so it just goes, oh, because I just used Screamtail to like load it up with energy, so it has a lot of damage onto it. He just goes Counter Catcher, Gardevoir, pops Dusknoir, hits 130 on Gardevoir, Phantom Dive, and then damage on the Screamtail for 3 prizes. And I'm like, all I had to do was KO the Dusknoir with Screamtail, and he could not have taken 3 prizes. Sure, he could have maybe, you know, done something to still pull up the Gardevoir, put 200, and then, you know, put some on the Screamtail. But that's why I have double Munkidori. That's why I have a second Gardevoir to retreat into. That's why I have all of these options. I'm kicking myself over not attacking that Dusknoir, right? Game 2, we end up just itchy pollening each other for quite a while. But eventually, I'm able to get to a board state where, again, I've learned my lesson now. I'm able to get down something like this. Specifically, after he gets some KOs or something like that, I'm on 5 prizes left. Because I think he used a Dusknoir. Because he used a Dusknoir to pop a Gardevoir earlier on. But thankfully, I had Night Stretcher to evolve a Kirlia back up. But with 5 prize cards left, and he only had 3, I think, I finally made the play. I was like, okay. After he had already punched my 1 Gardevoir, so there was like a lot of damage on here. There was 200 on my Gardevoir. There was still some damage from a Screamtail that I had used earlier. And there was some damage like just being spread about because that's, you know, what Dragapult does. I had the play where I could go, okay, Mawile, Counter Catcher your Pheasantipity. He had a full bench. Pheasantipity in the active, Radiant Greninja on the bench, Manaphy, Dragapult, and Dracloak. And I'm like, now we get to cook. Tempting Trap, but before that, I just start moving damage across. So I put 6 on Manaphy. I just start stacking 6 damage over time onto the Dragapult. There was already 190 from an earlier Gardevoir punch. Long story short, I'm able to get a 5 prize turn because I can do 1 Munkidori onto the Manaphy, knockout, 1 Munkidori onto the Dragapult, knockout, that's 3. Retreat into the Gardevoir, and then because Tempting Trap makes the defending Pokemon take 90 more damage on the next attack, Pheasantipity, even though it's at full health, will take 190 plus 90, so I take out the Pheasantipity, 5 prizes, 1 turn, and I'm like, all right, cool. This is, again, 75-minute round. We now start game 3 with like 8 minutes left, and we're like, we're gonna start playing it, but we need to start thinking about how we're gonna organize, you know, what happens after turns, because we're gonna get to turns. And especially because he started Budew, he obviously chose to go second. I started Mawile, and so for the longest time, I eventually did get down Ralts and stuff like this. It was him going Itchy Pollen. And then me going, okay, fine, Itchy Pollen, I'll tempting trap you. You can't, we're both just setting up in 2 different ways. And then I remember at turns, we were still 6 prizes each. And I had finally just drawn a Darkness Energy. And I had 3 damage on the Mawile. And we was like, okay, he has a full bench. Like he played a Lumineon. He played Lumineon very early to get an Arven or Lance or something like that. This is going to be very important. And we said, okay, we can't draw because it's top cut. I'll be honest, I wanted to say, do you want to just gentleman's agreement and say whoever gets the next prize wins? Because I had a Dark Energy in hand and I had 3 damage counters on Mawile. So I could have easily gone attach, move 30, win. But at the same time, he had a Duskull on the bench. So it's very possible, like the other side could have also, you know, won. At any point in time, he could have just gone evolve into Dusclops or Dusk Noir, and then, you know, if he has it, just KO something. So we were very concerned and we said, okay, here's what we'll do. I'm on turn 0 and I have this Darkness Energy in hand. And we said, gentleman's agreement, we will play our 3 turns. Whoever has the most prize cards after that, they will be the winner. Immediately, boom, attach return, knockout, Budew. I go down to 5 prize cards. I think at this point I did have a Kirlia as well. But anyway, that was my turn 0. I have 5 prize cards left. He has 6 prize cards left. I need to somehow get like a big turn 2 now, or big second turn, right? I can't remember what exactly he does, but he KOs my Mawile. We're both down to 5 prize cards left. Here is where I start panicking. I promote Kirlia. He has Duskull on the bench, Dragapult in the active. He played down a Fezandipity as well, so that he could draw 3. I play a Secret Box, and I'm like, I have game. If I go Gardevoir, double Munkidori, because I have another Darkness Energy in hand. I just needed a Munkidori. If I can go like this, I have 60 damage to move onto the Duskull for a knockout, and then I can also maybe go for another knockout somewhere else. Because I think he also KO'd something other than Mawile, so he was down to 4 prize cards. So I had Counter Catcher active. That's the important thing. And after I play Secret Box, I see that I maybe had another Kirlia down. I can't remember exactly. I didn't have Gardevoir just yet. But I see my Secret Box. I can grab an Ultra Ball to guarantee a Gardevoir, but I do not have an Artisan to grab the second Munkidori. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna thin out as much as possible. Take everything out of the deck as much as I can. Ultra Ball to grab the one Gardevoir. And then I had 1 Kirlia left, and I was like, I just gotta refinement away something. I refined something else away. And then the very first card that I draw off of the refinement was Munkidori. And I actually like popped off. I like I looked to my friend like next to me and I'm like, yo, I got it. So I'm like, okay, cool. Let me not mess this up. Munkidori, attach for turn, and then I attach 6 energy or 3 energy onto Gardevoir. So it takes 60 damage. And then here's where I misplay. He's ahead of prize by 1. Like Dragapult is in the active. I need to counter catcher before I move 60 damage with Munkidori. On the bench, Fezandipity, Duskull with a rescue board, Dracloak, I think a Manaphy, and then Lumineon. For some reason in my head, I completely forgot that our whole point was like most prizes at the end of this. And I was so dead set on like, let me counter catch the Fezandipity to, you know, deny him 3 draws. But then I was like, oh wait, hang on, no. I can't KO the Fezandipity because it has 210. And I'm using the 60 here to KO the Duskull. So I said, instead I go, let me counter catch the Dracloak in. Let me stop him from being able to use Recon Directive. I move 60 from the Gardevoir onto the Duskull. That gets a knockout. And then I say Gardevoir, Miracle Force, knock out his, what is it called? Dracloak that I just counter-catched. So I take 2 prize cards. I am down to 3 and I'm like, I'm sorted. I'm chilling. He draws for turn and he goes, oh, I have counter-catcher now. He's on 4 prizes. Counter-catcher Kirlia, knockout. And then we're both down to 3. Immediately after that, he looks at me and then like my friend as well looks at me and says, why didn't you counter-catch a Lumineon? And I'm like, well, cool. If I can't catch a Lumineon, I would have gotten 1 extra prize turn, and there's no way that he can take 3 prizes in 1 turn. Oh, sorry, there's no way that he can take 2. And I was like, you know what? It's late. I'm tired. It's like, I left home at 9 o'clock in the morning. I got home at 8 o'clock at night. I was like, I do not feel like playing another 1 hour, potentially 1 hour and a half match for finals. You know what? I'm fine. My excuse is I threw on purpose. Also, to be fair, his Lumineon was a full art. I have never seen somebody play a full art Lumineon. Maybe the SIR, maybe the regular one. For all I know, he could have had a Digimon card on his bench and I would not have known that that was Lumineon. But yeah, I lost because of very dumb misplays against Dragapult. But like I said, I know this matchup and I know that there are so many ways to misplay because it is such a fine line. It's a 50-50 for both ways, but you have to be so very meticulous and very careful with how you play these lines. In my heart, I know this could have been a final because again, I should have won game 1 if I just attacked the Dusk Noir. And then, you know, on game 3, I should have won because I should just counter catch a Lumineon, but I was getting hungry. I was getting tired. I was getting sleepy. I wanted to go home. Unfortunately, I didn't record matches from all of them. Like I said, I only recorded against somebody if I knew them personally, so it wasn't like weird. First time I meet you, yo, can we record this? And the setup was very janky. I had a very unstable tripod. It wasn't even a tripod, it was a selfie stick that didn't have a proper mount. So I just jammed it into like my deck box that it stood out of, and it was wobbling around. So I would like to try and improve on that. I'd like to see if, you know, maybe I can look into alternative setups to get it a bit more stable, because I feel like it is a lot nicer to show off a board than just talk about a board, even though I like yapping like this. That's gonna be it for this cup. There is one more, actually 2 more League Cups before rotation. This is the 3rd cup in a row I've made top cut. Next week for sure. I'll see you all next week, I suppose. Until then, bye bye.